Thunder Report from 107.7 The Franchise.
A busy Friday morning here at Integris Development Center as the Thunder finish their shoot-around and then talk about the possible addition of Caron Butler to the roster. Butler played for the world champion Dallas Mavericks in 2010 and 11. He most recently played for the Milwaukee Bucks and says after clearing waivers he plans to sign with Oklahoma City. After practice, we got comments on Butler and on Memphis tonight from Kevin Durant and Nick Collison. First of all, let's start with KD.
Well, Kevin, how was just yesterday in practice this morning at shoot-around then as far as just refocusing and getting back out there?
Oh, it's been good. Just watched film yesterday. You know, just did what we usually do today in shoot-around. Just focus on the team we're playing, focus on what we have to do as a group, and be ready to play at 7.
What do you need to change from last game to this game, especially defensively?
Just communication, that's it. I think we had good intentions. We were there on a lot of stuff, but our communication, it's the reason why they got a few wide open threes, a few layups, but, I think we can correct that by just talking up.
Last game you guys were able to limit Saul and Randolph to 26 points on 26 shots. What was the key to being able to do that, and what do you have to do this time around?
I think our bigs did a great job of just playing one-on-one defense first off, and then we also helped them out, clogging the paint up, just letting those guys, making those guys see the whole team, see our lane, and if they try to shoot over our lane, we like our advantage. So those two guys are definitely, bears down there, and we got to help out as much as we can.
Russell's only played them one time. Last time Mike Conley didn't play. Will you talk about what each of those guys brings to your teams individually?
Definitely, that Mike Conley's the head of their snake, and Russell does so much for us as well. He's just like how Mike Conley is for them. He does for us, initiating the offense, handling the ball, aggressive, just his intensity on the defensive end. He does a lot for us. So we're happy to have Russ back against, a great team like this, and I'm sure they're happy to have Mike Conley back against us.
In your years in the league playing Caron Butler on different teams, what are your thoughts of him as a player?
Tough, that's why I call him Tough Juice, I guess. Just plays hard, he's, from what I've seen, he's a team first guy. So that's about it.
If he was added to this team, do you think he could bring a dimension that would help?
Just his shot making. I seen a game he had made 7 threes this year. He had 30. I think that was the game he had 38.
38 another game.
Yeah, 38 another game. So he can put it up with the best of them. He's just long, strong defender. He can do a lot for us.
Kevin, Coach mentioned yesterday y'all had a couple quarters recently where you gave up 40. Usually you like to keep guys around 30. Mm-hmm. Is there a sense of pride going into this one to just not let that happen? It had happened before.
Yeah, we can't do that. 42 points in a quarter is a lot. So we just got to lock in and be focused on our defensive schemes and who we're guarding. Just play harder and we'll be fine.
Is there a point at which in the season, George Karl talked about this a little bit last year when you faced them in March, that teams that are thinking big thoughts in the playoffs really start to gear up and have that edge and take it to the floor? Are we about there, do you feel like, for you guys?
We're not thinking too far down the line. We're just trying to figure out day by day how that's going to work. We never think about the past or the future. We just worry about today. And if we take that mindset, then we'll get better every single day. And not just take these days for granted. Of course, we have big goals, but in order for us to get there, we have to take care of today. So that's all we're worried about.
Well, I think with them, the big thing is where they're catching the ball. If they're catching it with a foot off the block, they're tough to stop. If you could push them out, you got a little better shot. And I think they run a lot of offense through Gasol at the elbow, so we try to make his catches more difficult. Try to not allow him to pick the defense apart because he's a really good passer. So I think getting back and getting an initial position, a good start to the defense is big with them on the defensive end.
Nick, what makes you so successful against Randolph defending that?
Well, he's had games where he's had 30 or so when we've played him, and I've guarded him a lot too, so he's a tough cover. I think you have to go into that knowing he's going to get his points, he's going to get his rebounds, but like I said, you want to try to make his catches as difficult as possible. And I think with him too is you have to realize the whole 24 seconds, the ball's probably going to come back to him, and if not, he's going to really try to work and get it off the board. So you have to be engaged the whole 24 seconds. It's physically demanding to play against him, but I think what I've tried to do is really stay on the whole time I'm out there mentally, and not get too far separated from him, because he wants you to, if you're helping in the middle, not really doing much, then that's when he can seal you in or push you under the board on the shot. So just try to be engaged the whole time with him, knowing the ball's eventually going to come back to him.
How did you study defending him?
I don't know if I studied it. I think we've played him so much over the years. I played him a lot in my career. We came in the league similar times. I used to play against him in Portland. I played USA basketball with him when we were in college. So I've seen him a lot, and I really like his game because he's physical. There's not a lot of complaining to the referees. You just go out and play and you battle, and so I got a lot of respect for his game. And he's a guy that plays as hard as anybody, especially inside, because he pursues all the rebounds. So you really have to be ready to play against him.
Why is he so good on the offensive glass?
Because I think he wants to be the first hitter a lot of times. So he's able to knock a lot of guys off their spot, knock them off balance, and he's very strong. He's got a way to be very physical without referees calling it, whether it's foul or not. He's figured out how to do it. So I think that's the biggest thing, is he wants to be the first hitter, and you exhale one time and you're staring at the ball, and then that's when he hits. He starts working under the board, and it's tough to get back.
Steven mentioned yesterday just that he gets jitters at the beginning of the game, but then still kind of has them throughout. We saw maybe some slippage there. Do you have any words of advice for them to be more aggressive, to trust in, or do you say anything to them?
Well, it's part of being a young player in the league and finding your way. I was the same way. I told Steve a lot when I first got in the league. It took me till about March that first year till I really started to feel comfortable and just play basketball. And that's something I think just experience is going to come, and trying to have confidence in yourself, knowing that you know the right thing to do now. I think that's a big part of when you're a young player. You're always questioning a little bit if you know exactly what to do or where to be. And things happen so fast that if you're thinking too much, you don't react as well. So I think it's all that stuff that he'll get with more time.
Nick, the guy. You faced Caron Butler, probably on a number of teams. What are your thoughts on him as a player?
I like his game. I think he can do a lot of things. He can shoot the ball from three. He's a natural scorer, and I think he's a tough physical guy. So I've liked his game over the years for sure.
If he was added to this team, what kind of dimension could be possible?
Well, until he's here, I'm not. It doesn't make a lot of sense to talk too much about it. But like I said, I've always respected his game. I think he's a guy that could help a lot of teams in the league. And if we get him, I think it'd be an added plus. But I know things aren't done until they're done. So we'll go from there, I guess.
Nick, the guys yesterday were saying the film section that you guys went through was very helpful. A couple of them said it seemed like during the game one thing was happening, and you saw in the film that actually something else was going on. To fix some defensive problems, is that the best way to do it, to see what's happening on film like that?
Yeah, I think so. It's a truth teller. A lot of times you feel something totally different happen, and it might be hard to understand from the outside, but when you're in the middle of the game, a lot of times you don't necessarily realize what's going on until you see it on film. I just think it's the best way to really, as a team, to look at what we've done and look in the mirror and accept that that's, a certain possession wasn't good enough or individually wasn't good enough. So, yeah, I think going back, watching more film, we do it throughout the year. Sometimes the schedule allows for more time to do that than others. But I think when you're struggling, you want to go back and see what's going on and tighten up, sharpen up everything.
The Thunder talk about this being a team sport, not necessarily individual. But in a game like this with Gasol and Randolph, is it a bigger game for the bigs?
Each team, I think, presents a different challenge, and I think Memphis is a team that wants to throw the ball inside. So it is a team effort. The bigs have a lot of the responsibility, but we also rely on guards to sink in these guys' laps, to pressure the ball so the entry passes aren't as easy, and so it's always a team effort. But yeah, there's different teams give you different challenges, and Memphis is unique because they got two guys inside they like to throw the ball to. There's not a lot of teams like that anymore where they're trying to throw the ball inside.
Nick, do you have like a specific example, something you saw on film that you didn't realize you were doing? during the game?
They're all different possessions, right? So we've played so much basketball. We defend so many teams that we know how we want to defend a certain play, certain coverage things. So you see individual times when that's not being done. So you can't really pinpoint a certain play, but it's just the overall consistency of being in the right place with the right amount of effort hasn't been good enough. So I think that's overall what we took away from field station.
That's Thunder forward Nick Collison. Our coverage of the Thunder continues later today at 6 o'clock. It's the TotallyTickets.com Countdown to Tip-Off show from Toby Keith's in Bricktown. Join Desmond Mason, John Rohde, and me for those pregame festivities. Then after the game, tune in for the Franchise postgame show. That's today's Thunder Report. I'm David Garrett for 107.7 The Franchise.